I want to talk about when you noticed this larger shift in the conversation. As you said earlier, before it's always you have to be skinny, size zero, watch what you're eating, restrict your diet, that type of thing. So when has this language really centered more about self-worth and self-love?
So I think right when a lot of like bigger like mainstream like fashion industries and lingerie brands like Victoria's Secret, they started doing the whole plus size model thing. They started saying like, well, all bodies are beautiful. And I think the conversation really kind of started there when you saw it in more, notable brands. They started like taking notice. You even see it in places like Target where they have like the plus size mannequins nowadays. So they're trying this new inclusivity thing. And so that's where I think the conversation really started. I think it evolved because it used to just be okay, well, we're not just going to do these stick thin figures, we're going to also have this other body shape, but we're missing a huge gap. We're looking at skinny and plus size, but we're missing this whole like strong. We're just missing the strong body and the strong female figure. And that's the conversation that I want to go towards. So I know that we have done better by women, and I think the conversation did turn to a good path when we started like really including like the plus size models in the day to day. But again, like I said, we're missing a huge group of women, and I think we're missing the key point. So we're saying like love your body, no matter what, skinny, plus size, but we want health. And I think that's like there was a disconnect there.
How do we close the gap? It sounds like you're saying that area still needs improvement. It's really good to celebrate where we've come, but what's next here?
I think just, again, just focusing on the health. Like women want to be strong. You said it earlier, is they're in the gym, they're lifting the weights, they want to pack on muscle. They realize that being strong is awesome, it's beautiful. And so we just need to continue that narrative. We need to stop shaming women because they're lifting weights. Like that's something that I get all the time is because I have muscle on my body, I receive a lot of negative comments on the internet because we'll just say it because of a lot of insecure men out there. And with those kind of negative interactions that are going on such a widespread platform like the social media platforms, a lot of women are going to get discouraged. You just have to keep pushing the message that health is key. Lifting weights is good for your body. It's good for a lot of things that happen with your body. Strong is awesome. Strong is beautiful. So we just have to keep pushing that narrative. And women should want to feel empowered and women lifting up women. And we just can't let the negative energy that surrounds some of this, like some of the very, very outdated and old school stereotypes. We just have to continue to break those. And so we have to shift the narrative of, yes, love your body no matter what path you're on, what stage of the journey you are on, but you should always be aiming for health. And so I think the whole body positivity trend went a little too far because we were like, love your body no matter what. But I want love your body no matter what, as long as you're on a path to health. So if you're healthy, that's key. Love your body if it's healthy, but love your body even if it's not, but love your journey to get to a healthy stage. So that's the narrative that we're trying to get towards.
You mentioned the comments component, and I want to ask you, how do you block out the noise? Because it's one thing to feel super confident in your health journey, in your path, but then you see one comment, and even the most confident person can be put into a spiral. So, what's your advice to people to block out kind of the haters, I guess?
That's I actually I get this question a lot and I get a lot of hatred on the internet. That's something that comes every single day. But for every bad comment, I get 100 great ones. And so I just have to I keep fighting for the women who are out there who also get the negative comments and they may not understand. So I share a lot of the hateful comments I get through my platform to show, hey, I get them. Everybody gets them. We just can't, you just can't let hate win. It's like such an old school thing to say is, you can't let the hate win. And that doesn't provide change. And so we just have to keep striving to be better and you can't please everybody, and no matter what, it's everyone's going to have someone who dislikes them. You're always going to have haters, and if you don't, you're not doing your job correctly. So you're obviously doing something right if someone wants to say something about anything that you're doing. So it's just more of, keep your head up and realize that you're not alone. If you're getting hateful comments on the internet, you are not alone. We're all getting them. So we just have to like band together, especially as women, like, hashtag 2023, like female power. You stick together and just realize that you're not alone.
I love that. And Dani, you recently signed with fitness brand Tier. How are they supporting this message?
They've been incredible throughout this whole journey. So a lot of times when athletes partner with brands, it's very much a transactional. You're going to wear the clothes and we're going to sponsor you and then mutually beneficial and write a paycheck, shake hands, walk away. So they have just, I get messages all the time like, "Hey, how do you want to do this in a larger scale? Do you want to bring this to a competition? How do you want to outreach to bigger platforms? How do you want to bring this outside of the CrossFit space?" And so it's a very intimate relationship that I have with them, and they're very much behind the message. And so it's not something they were like, "Okay, well, that's cool. We support it, but make sure you're wearing a Tier shirt." It was very much, how do we support this and how do we help? And so they're helping spread the message. We've already had conversations about like more inclusive sizing and stuff. So they're making changes and they're open to everything that I want to do. So it's just nice to have someone who actually cares and they don't just like care when the camera's on.
Of course. And I guess on a macro level, why do you think more brands have come around to being more inclusive, to getting behind a message instead of, like you said, being more transactional? We give you the brand, you wear a t-shirt.
It's important. I think just more people realize that it's important that you can't, if you're, silence is taking a side. So if you're not going to say something and you're not going to promote a certain message, like again, silence is what you're just standing behind. So if you want change, then you have to promote it. And people, in companies, it's not just the whole company. Like there are people within that company, there are women within that company, there are men with wives who have struggled with this, there are men with daughters who they don't want to see struggle with this. And so I think, as women, we're like, yeah, like we have to we have to perpetuate the goodness of this whole message. And then if you're a man, you're like, like I don't want my daughter to grow up with these issues. I watched my sister go through it. I watched my mother go through it. I watched my wife go through it. I do not want this for my daughter. And so I think people are just coming around to the idea that they are the change. If they want there to be a better environment for the future generations, like the change has to start now. And so I think everyone's just kind of waking up and realizing that, especially in a position of power in companies like this, like they have an obligation to just do better and be a part of the change.
It's been a long time coming, but I'm glad that companies and people are finally waking up. And Dani, if you could give your younger self a piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Don't take such stock into what young children say and what you see on the internet. So even when I was little, I took such very innocent things that kids would say to heart, and it stuck with me. You hear words like big as a kid, and it breaks you. And so I was always very muscular, and so that was something I struggled with. So I would just, almost want to like shake my younger self and just, say to her, like, your body is incredible. The things that you'll do are amazing, and most of the people in this world will not be able to do what your body can do. So don't spend 1 second hating it at all.